Hi, welcome to Happier Ladies, a podcast where we discuss all things related to the Happier and Happier in Hollywood podcasts.
We're sisters
And super fans
who can't get enough happier.
So we created our own podcast to keep the conversation going.
I'm Malika Amandi, a SoCal native living in Western Massachusetts, a new mom, and an entrepreneur. I'm here with my sister, Azizi Williams.
That's me. I live and work in the LA area. I'm a not-so-new mom, and I'm an education professional in the independent school world. So first, we want to thank you all for the emails and the Instagram notes that have been coming in. It's so exciting. It's such a joy to know that we have listeners from all over the world. Malika and I are so excited about it. And we want to do a Q&A episode. Send us your questions if you have any. We'd love to share more about ourselves and answer anything that you guys want to know about us. So we look forward to that episode coming up in a few weeks.
Azizi, what happened on Happier this week?
This week on Happier, episode 457, Liz and Gretchen discuss how to find more time in their day. Gretchen shares the value of checking out the location before an anxiety-prone event. And they ask a know yourself better question. Are you a cook or a baker?
Are you a baker or a cook, Azizi?
I am definitely a cook. In life, there are guidelines and, I respect rules. I definitely pay attention to the rules, but also I like to put my own flair sometimes and see where there's space for interpretation. More like an artist, I think. But in actual life, I'm a baker. So I actually like to bake, but in life, I like to cook. So that's how I think it would apply for me. But what about you, Malika?
Wait a minute. So when you bake, do you follow the directions exactly as they are?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's chemistry. You have to. If you want a tasty treat,
right.
You need to follow the recipe. But, in life, it's more cooking. It's more, art as opposed to science in life. So are you a cook or a baker, Malika?
I'm definitely a cook.
Yeah.
There's many roads to get to a tasty combination in cooking, and then in life, there's many roads to get to, a desirable lifestyle or career or whatever the result is that you want. I'm not a huge fan of the directions, though I am an obliger, but that's kind of a different conversation. When it comes to actual recipes, I'm terrible at following the instructions to a T. I can do it, but I can't be bothered with the measuring, for
just measuring, like using a cup or a teaspoon brings you down.
Yeah, it's just what a drag, Like I do it. I can cook recipes. I love this cookbook that I got called the New York Times No Recipe Cookbook.
Oh, that's right.
It's kind of fun because it's all of these great meal ideas from editors of New York Times food, and there's no measuring. The recipe is just a paragraph, and it's like, take this and then do this and put some of this. So I think some people would hate it, but I love it because it's encouraging you to come up with your own ratios and refine it as you go along, but the numbers aren't important. I do have to reread that paragraph over and over ago. The steps are somewhat important.
The steps are important.
Right. But there's not a lot of, there's not a ton of steps. And it's pretty, the spirit of it is like, get in the kitchen, make some things, which I really resonate with.
This is a great gift idea, actually. And I forgot about that book because I wanted to give it to my husband. He is a cook in the kitchen. He's literally a cook. He likes to have his own flair and he likes things spicy. So he's always adding more.
Funny.
But in life, he's a baker for sure. He's a rule follower. So I think there's very little correlation actually with what happens in the kitchen and what happens out of the kitchen. Or maybe it's more of a family, I don't know, genetics. I don't know. But that's a fun question to ask yourself.
Speaking of food and cooking, at the end of Happier, Liz gave a gold star to the restaurant Bakari, which opened in her neighborhood recently. And I have so much history with that franchise. It really took me down memory lane. Bakari is Italian for wine bars. And the original restaurant was called Baccaro, which is wine bar singular.
Now, did you look this up, Malika?
I did look this up.
I was going to be very impressed with your Italian if you just knew what that meant.
I do not speak Italian.
Okay, go on.
They had this information on their website.
Oh, okay, a little research.
The first one opened up when I was in grad school at USC, and the founders are USC alums. It was in the neighborhood of my grad school, and my friends and I went to the opening night party and got to know the founders because we went there almost every week for 3 years. It's a huge part of my 20s. They had all these different wines and they really made it approachable. So you felt like you were learning about wine and you were a foodie, and we spent a lot of our student loans there.
Don't tell the government.
Now they have 6 locations, so they've done extremely well. It's been fun to see them over the years and know, like, oh, we were there in the beginning. I'll include a link to an article about the history of that restaurant in the show notes. It really warmed my heart to hear Liz talking about it.
Sounds like a fun time. And more happier, Malika, Liz and Gretchen did a Deck the Halls episode. I was thinking that in our next episode, we could follow along and do the Deck the Halls suggestions that they offer and use the bingo scorecards to keep track of the ones that we do. How does that sound?
I think we should pick a few of them. We have to be strategic on what we can do in the length of an episode.
Right.
I think it would be fun to actually get some things done and do it together.
I'm excited to get some things done and cross some things off our list and report back and share out how it went. So we're going to save the more happier for our next episode. Stay tuned for that.
All right.
What happened in Happier in Hollywood, Malika?
So in Happier in Hollywood, episode 341, Sarah and Liz shared their gift suggestions for the 2024 holiday season. And there are some very good items, some things that come to mind. The popcorn, Topsy popcorn.
Do you know, I ordered that for Uncle Lawrence, Mark, and Melinda last year.
You did?
I did. They made it sound so good. And the only regret I have is that I didn't order one for myself.
Oh.
But I definitely shipped it. So Topsy's got my business last year.
The other thing that stood out to me was the reusable paper towels, which Sarah switched to a while ago, and she gave a couple different brand options. But I feel very intrigued about that. I remember when she mentioned it a while ago, just that she had replaced paper towels. I think I might have to put that on my 24 for 24 list, experimenting with letting go of paper towels and trying out one of the brands she mentions.
That's a good idea. I was really intrigued by the Women's Bean Project and I looked it up, but then I wondered, would someone feel burdened by getting a bag of beans? You know, I really appreciate the charitable side of it, but I thought if I were to send you a gift of dry beans, Malika, would you make them?
I don't know.
It has to be the right person, right?
Yes.
I love their mission and the spirit behind it for the right person, for the cook.
Exactly.
Or the baker. So, Malika, I thought we could give a Thanksgiving update. I just got back hours ago from our Thanksgiving vacation, and we spent a lot of time telling everyone about the unique aspects of our family tradition. And so I thought we could just give a really brief update on how it went. What was your favorite part of the trip, Malika?
My favorite part was getting to the beach as a family. The beach delivers every year, even though we're staying very close to the beach, literally across the street. It does take some effort to cross the sand. There were sand dunes.
It was a hike. Let's just say it. It was a hike to get to the water.
We actually only made it down to the water once. But being even just close to it, and we had an incredible view from the living room and from the roof. When we did get down to the water, it was cool. Everybody sat on the sand. We weren't planning to be there very long because it was kind of chilly. But I wanted my son Indigo to have a chance to play in the sand, which he did. He was a pro. He just knew to dig and buckets. That was really special, just to kind of all have a moment sitting on the beach and watching him play in the water. That was definitely a highlight for me. What about you?
That was really lovely. It was sort of magic hour also, wasn't it? The sun was perfect and everyone looked beautiful. And it was groups of sisters sitting together. It was mommy and her sister, our aunt, and then you and I, and then my girls. Yeah. And it was lovely. I'm glad you made us go out there. I don't regret it. It was worth the hike of getting to the ocean and having that time in nature.
What was your favorite part, Azizi?
So you mentioned the roof, Malika, and The house that we ended up staying at had this lovely rooftop patio that had a great view of the ocean. And Malika, you made this beautiful charcuterie board, like magazine worthy charcuterie boards, three of them. This was on Thanksgiving Day. So everyone's, busy cooking and getting ready for the meal. We're all hustling in the kitchen. And then we got to have this lunch on the roof with cheeses and meats and fruit and wine. And it was lovely. And I will say, I'm so grateful to you, Malika, because I was stressing out about all the meals that I had to make, the desserts that I hadn't gotten to yet. I was sweating in the kitchen. And you said, you need to come up. You literally came and got me and brought me up to the roof. And when I got there, it's like I stepped into another portal. It was like the temperature was perfect. And you had your sun hat on and your baby had a sun hat on and you're sitting with a glass of wine. And it was just so lovely. And I sat down across from you and looked at this beautiful spread and I could have been in Italy. It was so lovely. That's definitely a memory I have. That's not something we've ever done before. It was a lovely addition. And thank you for coming to get me and make me take a break.
I was really concerned you were going to miss it. It's hard to have perspective when you're in the kitchen because that is urgent, but also we're at the beach.
That was sort of your role in this trip, wasn't it? You pulled us all out to the ocean and you pulled us all up to the roof and you really helped us take advantage of everything that the house and the location had to offer.
I came back last night and it was 30 degrees here. So, it really meant a lot to be in 70-degree weather with the sun shining.
Yeah.
I certainly wasn't going to miss it.
You're right. I think we take it for granted because we live so close to it. I do. Anyway. So what would you do differently next year?
I would love for there to be a full day, or maybe we start with a half day where there are no screens.
Ooh, wow.
No TV, and even the TV's okay. Because if we're all watching the same thing together, that's fine. But no computers, no phones, just everybody really connected and focused on being present together. We had moments of that, around mealtime or certainly around the Thanksgiving dinner, but we're just also used to being on our devices. We still had together time, but I think there's another level of connection and rest that can happen if we really unplugged together.
I love that. And I do think you're right. At the Thanksgiving meal in particular, when we were playing the Generations trivia, which was a fantastic game. I'll make sure to link that in the show notes.
It was fun.
We were laughing and connecting, and there weren't screens, even though we didn't say it, that it wasn't allowed. It was nice to do something different together in that space. I'm for a few more hours of no screens, or maybe a half day. We kind of work our way into it. I love that idea.
What would you do differently?
Well, inevitably, when we get there, it's the day before Thanksgiving. And really, by the time we unpack and settle in, it's the night before Thanksgiving. There are always things that were forgotten. And so I volunteered to make the run out to Walmart with my daughter and my aunt. And I was so sad in the middle of Walmart trying to remember all the things we needed to get. And there was something we couldn't find. We couldn't find a turkey baster anywhere. And it was just like so draining. It was dark outside. We hadn't dinner yet. I was thinking about all the things that I could be making in preparation to make the load easier the following day. And by the time we got back home, I was just so cranky. So that is something that I would want to do differently. I don't know what. I'm not sure how to make it so that there's not that night before rush for things you forgot or things that you realize you needed, but I'm going to work on that. I'm going to take the year to work on that.
You really took one for the team because we did need that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's not really where you want to be once you've arrived.
Maybe Instacart. I don't know. There's got to be another way. I'm going to work on it. We have a year. And to follow up, Malika, the puzzle did not happen.
No puzzling. I don't think anybody missed it. And also, there was one puzzle there that was the appropriate number of pieces, but they were so tiny. It was clearly going to be a choking hazard for the baby walking around. So we might not be in our puzzle season for the next few years. And I think that's okay.
I think that's okay. I think this is confirmation. And now that we have a baby, even more so just let it go.
But we did do the favorite things list.
We did. Yeah, that was nice.
Azizi, how's your dinner game these days?
Well, Malika, I used to struggle with what to cook for dinner.
You're cooking now?
Okay. Actually, my husband used to struggle with what to make for dinner. I mean, meal planning, grocery lists, yuck. But then we found Prep Dish. It's a weekly meal planning service that tells you exactly what to cook. And now they've partnered with Instacart, so your grocery list becomes a ready-to-go online cart.
Oh, what's in your cart, Azizi?
All of the Prep Dish ingredients, plus I can add energy drinks, chili crisp, lipstick, whatever, and check out in just a few clicks. Shopping online is so fun. The meals are family-friendly, healthy, and super easy to prep. Dinner is easy to make, and now we look forward to new tasty meals.
Prep Dish is offering our listeners 2 weeks free. Just head to prepdish.com/happierladies to sign up. Again, that's prepdish.com/happierladies.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. When you visit the doctor, you probably hand over your insurance, your ID, and contact details. It's just one of the many places that has your personal info. And if any of them accidentally expose it, you could be at risk for identity theft. LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second. If you become a victim, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Gretchen talks about how in their family, there's a rule that you have to make a list because it's not fair to put all of the pressure on everybody else to figure out what you want. And I 110% agree. Aunt Charlene was super resistant. Usually there's a couple people, but she was really like, surprise me, just surprise me. And you gently guided her to come up with a few things to put down. But I think you and I are of that same philosophy, which is that it's a service to everybody around you who wants to give you a gift, to give them some guidance. But there are people who are really on the other side of that debate and feel like it ruins the surprise if they give any indication of things they might want, because they don't necessarily know, or they really feel like it's against the spirit of gift giving.
So this is what I realized in that moment. It was interesting. It was information how resistant she was. And she hadn't been resistant in years past, but she sort of put her foot down this time.
Yes.
But what was interesting was I started to interview her and she seemed to really enjoy that.
Yeah.
And I think maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something to having a Mad Lib style document to fill out, or having people ask each other a list of questions about things that they like, because it's hard to even imagine out of all the things in the world, what is it that you want? And I think she actually liked it when I started asking her more specific questions about this or that. And I learned some things about her. So that was helpful.
The way you process information or the way that you like to reflect. I think not everybody can reflect by writing things down themselves.
Right. Yeah. And in education, when we're working with kids, you call it scaffolding. There's different kinds of scaffolds that you could implement to help make a task more accessible. And so in this particular situation, when I added the scaffolding of asking questions to draw information out, it went a lot smoother. It was more,
Yes.
it felt more accessible. So that's something to think about. What other scaffolds can we put in place to make this task accessible for everyone?
That's a good point. Our next segment is Happiness Obstacle, where we share circumstances that are getting in the way of our happiness. So my happiness obstacle is around sending gifts. We have this cross-country dynamic now in our family. The past few years, I've had to figure out how to get gifts to you and to our parents. And it's really more challenging than you would think.
How would you frame the dilemma?
The dilemma is that there's a few ways to go. You can order something directly to be shipped to the recipient through Amazon or some online service and just kind of have the shipping address go to them. The problem with that is that it's usually not wrapped. Amazon, you can buy wrapping paper. It comes in a funny looking bag. Other places might have some kind of gift wrapping option, but it's not very personal. Or you buy things and wrap them and do whatever touches and flares, but then you have to find the perfect box to put everything in, and you have to get to the post office before that deadline, which is not Christmas Eve when I'm used to wrapping gifts. It's many days before to make sure that it gets there by Christmas. It feels a lot more stressful just adding this layer of shipping to everything.
Yes. and Malika, not only do we have to ship it by the specific date to make sure it gets there by the deadline, but that means that then I need to have it in my possession. Like I need to order it and have it arrive to me in time to then send it to you.
Exactly.
I put this on my 23 for 23 list. I put make friends with the post office because it's such a dilemma. And when it comes down to it, there's a couple of reasons why it's a dilemma for me. One is that the post office tends to be open during working hours when I am not free
Mm.
to go to the post office. So mostly it's got 9 to 5, or maybe it's a little earlier. But by the time I'm off of work and available, all the options aren't open to me. And then there's UPS versus FedEx versus USPS. I'm not exactly sure about the pros and cons of all of those different ways of sending things. Also, it's just a little intimidating when you get up to the front and you're like, I have some things and I need you to help me. I don't know.
Mm.
I feel vulnerable for some reason when I imagine, or the few times that I have gone up to the desk to ask for help. So that's the barrier to shipping it myself. And the other barrier that I that I realized when I was sending Indigo's gift, your baby, I had some things sent to me, and then when I looked at them, I realized they were massive. The scale, sometimes when you're shopping online, the scale is not always clear, and I realized this
Mm.
actually is going to be too cumbersome to ship. So then he just had a bonus gift when he came here for Thanksgiving. So many challenges. We need your suggestions.
There's a lot of variables to consider. So please let us know how you handle shipping around the holidays, your post office hacks, your gift wrapping for shipping hacks, your mindset shifts. We're very much invested in how you handle this happiness obstacle.
We need your help.
Now it's time for peaks and valleys, because in life there are always peaks and valleys. Today is an odd episode, so I will start us off with a peak. My peak is watching Emily in Paris at night. So I've seen the show. There's 3 seasons, I believe. I've watched it already, but I just started this past week watching it at night when I get ready for bed. This is a habit that I've had for a while, which is watching a nighttime show while I'm taking out my contacts and brushing my teeth. There's a very specific criteria. Like, it has to be a show that I've seen before, because I can't watch something that is going to really do anything on an emotional level except make me laugh. It's got to be the easiest thing so that I can have passive thoughts about other stuff. It's basically background, but you pay attention a little bit. And for years, my nighttime show was Frasier, more years than I can count. For some reason, recently, I just felt like I didn't want to go through it again right now. So I switched to Sex and the City, which I've also seen a million times. But I went through that basically twice over several months.
Sex in the City, that fascinates me that's your wind down serial, because it's a little intense at points.
I mean, I've seen it so many times.
Okay,
I've seen
all
it so
right.
many
I guess
times.
that's fair.
And so then I switched to the Gilmore Girls, which had been on and off for a while, but I was in the last season and it just gets so annoying. I cannot watch Lorelai sabotage her love life anymore.
I know nothing about the Gilmore Girls. I'm sorry. This is where we depart ways. I have no idea.
The last season is very hard to watch. So I switched to Emily in Paris, which it's a more recent show, so it didn't occur to me to watch that because it hasn't been out that long. But I have seen it all. It is so much fun. It's like candy. It's easy. The fashion is really fun. The music is fun. And then there's this whole French element. I studied abroad in Paris when I was in college. So I completely connect to a lot of the themes of the show, which is a very specific lens on Paris from the perspective of an American of a certain age, which I've been wanting to practice my French more. The show has a lot of French in it. It's just checking the boxes on a lot of fronts. It's making me happier.
Emily in Paris, it's like nothing ever happens. I remember watching the first season and I was kind of mad when I got to the end and realized nothing happened the entire time. But also it's ambient TV. It's got a color palette, it's got sounds, that are very soothing. And that I could see that pairing well with a nighttime routine. I think that's a brilliant idea.
It's cotton candy.
It's more like a warm hug, I would say. It's like a cup of tea.
What about you, Azizi? What's your valley?
On the theme of Thanksgiving, we were just away. We were at an Airbnb. I had the good fortune of being in the bedroom that had the massive spa tub. And I brought all of these things like face masks and things that I was going to do to take care of myself and really get in that vacation mode. And I did none of them. I did none of those things. Like I didn't use the spa tub once. I did not put on a mask at all. I didn't do any of those. I didn't take advantage of what the house had to offer and being away from home and the spa vibe that you want to get when you're away from home.
There was no time. It was really packed. You were cooking. Give yourself some grace because it's not like you were just watching TV the whole time instead of luxuriating. Like you were actually making lasagna and bread pudding and going to Walmart.
It was a lot of work. It actually turned out to be a lot of work. I loved it. I loved it. I loved being with you and I loved being with family and I loved that we were creating things together. But just like you dragged me up to the roof to enjoy the charcuterie and then to the beach. I didn't have anybody to drag me to the spa tub to say, take a bath now. So that's something that I want to figure out next time, how to build in more time to just step away.
I think we need to add another day.
That's it.
Or two. Honestly.
There's not enough time to do all the things that not enough time for all the ideas I have. So next year.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. Azizi, let's leave on a happier thought. What are you going to try this week?
I'm going to try Emily in Paris for a wind down time. What about you, Malika? What are you going to try?
I am going to look into those paper towel alternatives that Sarah recommended and add something to my 24 for 24 possibilities list. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you like us, rate, review, and tell a friend.
Send us a message at happierladies@gmail.com and tell us something you liked about Happier and Happier in Hollywood this week.
Our theme music was created by Wyatt Muncie.
And we also want to give a special shout out to Gretchen Rubin, Liz Kraft, and Sarah Fink for inspiring our conversation each week.
The show notes for this episode are at happierladies.com. You can also find us on Instagram at happierladies. All right, Azizi, have a happier week.
Have a happier week, Malika.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, Malika, we get it. You're very cool.
Oh my gosh.
You were very cool when you were in college. We get it.
That's not what I'm trying to say.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.